Hello everyone, welcome to the Ichimoku.co chart of the day. Starting with Bitcoin versus US dollar, and a very strong negative candle today. Strong selling, and previously we saw the market trading within the Ichimoku cloud, so a neutral market in big picture terms, but now transitioning into another downtrending phase, perhaps after the breakout down below the Ichimoku cloud. Very strong negative candle, trend to the downside, lower high, lower low, large range, so sellers are finding some eagerness, and also the sellers have found some strong commitment to moving this market lower. We also have the market closing down towards the low, suggesting that the sellers have taken control at the end of trading. Now, one thing to watch here is that this is something of an extreme type candle. It's a very large range compared to the range of quite a lot of activity over the last month. So we haven't seen a range this large for probably about a month or so, going back into early February. So we may not see the strong follow through, but that will be required for a couple of reasons. The first thing is we have a breakout down below the cloud. It has been a bearish breakout, and it does suggest that there is potential for the beginning of a stronger downtrend in the longer term time frame. But what we want to see is some confirmation, and that would mean some strong follow through over the next day or so. So we want to see a continuation of this strong bearish activity with these black body candles and the sellers in control. Importantly, the market finding support down around that round number 8,000. We know that these round numbers are really crucial to Bitcoin. Most important is that 10,000 level. Previously, that 9,000 level had held up down through there as support, with the market failing to close through there. We have closed through there today, but we failed to close through that 8,000 level. So that is important. And if we do trade in a bearish manner early down through that area, we could see this market moving down to the 7,000 level, then possibly down to the 6,000 level, which was a previous swing low. So very important trading activity coming up over the next day. If the market does bounce off this area, looking for potential resistance back up at that 9,000 level, and possibly back up around the bottom rim of the Ichimoku cloud, which is just above that area, around the 9226 region. Now, just looking at our bands here with Bitcoin versus US dollar, and continuing to trend down, the market remains down below that lower band, suggesting that there is a strong negative tone in this market. And we have seen over the last 4 or 5 days that lower edge of the bands here holding as resistance, and the rejection from there has been quite strong. Acceptance at lower levels has been significant, and it does suggest that there is an opportunity here for this market to continue to move lower. The bands are just starting to get a little wide, not overly wide at the moment, however, so we're not likely to see a significant bounce to within the bands. And if we do see any bounce here, watching for resistance to form once again just around the bottom band, which at the moment is at 8917. Now, just moving to our bands and on the hourly charts and our pivot points as well. And here we saw previously at the start of the news session, we had a squeeze going on, and it did suggest that we should have been on the lookout for stronger trending activity. We then saw a strong bearish breakout, strong follow through, the market taking out that first pivot point support level, which failed significantly. The market reacting on some small bodied candles, finding resistance very close to that support level, and also finding resistance at the bottom band. The market then moving down through the second level in a bearish manner, and down to the third, and moving through there in a bearish manner. This suggests that we have had quite an extreme day, and if we look at the width of the bands, they are quite high. We have a bandwidth here, and a cyclical high in bandwidth does suggest that we may not see significantly lower levels. The extent of the move following this news session starting here now in this current hour that is forming, we are seeing some selling coming into the market, and we will be looking for a target down here if this bearishness does continue down at the first pivot point support level at the 7581 area. And that could be the extent of the move. We are likely to have very, very super wide bands, and then likely to see a mean reversion if that does occur. If we do see any attempts to at buying, if we do close back within the bands, we are likely to see a reversion back towards the middle of the bands. At the moment, that's around the 8580 level, but it could move lower over the next hour or two, depending on what happens in the immediate hour or two if the market does remain outside of the bands and is continuing bearish. Just looking at the volatility here, this is the bandwidth indicator, and the bandwidth is at the highest level that it has been for the last week or so, and we are seeing perhaps a cyclical high in bandwidth, and sooner or later we are likely to see that bandwidth decrease, which would mean volatility decreasing, which would mean that we're likely to see either congestion taking place or the market mean reverting back towards the middle of the bands.